way to Theresienstadt, which thousands have wearily walked. Each one of the thousands have suffered the same injustice from the first to the last. This is the road to Theresienstadt, drenched with the blood of our hearts, where greybeards, dying from agony, drop down to the stony path. They marched along with their heads to the ground, the Star of David pinned onto their breasts, their tired feet sore and covered with dust, their tortured souls torn with pain and unrest.
That spit of filth in dirty walls, and all around barbed wire. And 30,000 souls who sleep, who once will wake, and once will see their own blood spilled.
Terezin was an old fortress town north of Prague. In February 1942, it became a concentration camp, a ghetto for the elderly and privileged people of Jewish descent. But in Auschwitz, the gas chambers were ready, the final solution agreed upon. As the transports came in from all over Europe, corresponding numbers were sent to Auschwitz. In Terezin, there were no gas chambers. The aim was to destroy the prisoners mentally, to deprive them of their essential human dignity. Among the 200,000 who passed through the ghetto were 4 artists. In secret, they found ways and means to draw and paint, to record life in the ghetto. Bedřich Fritter was a well-known draftsman and caricaturist before the war. Karol Fleischmann, a doctor, a painter, who also wrote both prose and verse. Piotr Kien studied at the Prague Academy of Arts. Otto Unger worked with Fritter and Fleischmann in the camp's drawing office. None of the 4 artists survived the camp, but their drawings and paintings were salvaged. The Prague Jewish Museum has lent them for an exhibition that has, for the past 3 years, traveled all over England. We felt there should be sufficient interest in this gallery to hold such an exhibition, to tell a story that happened a quarter of a century ago.
"15 beds, 15 charts with names, 15 people without a family tree, 15 bodies for whom torture is medicine and pills, beds over which the crimson blood of ages spills, 15 bodies which want to live here, 30 eyes seeking quietness, bald heads which gape from out the prison." The poor thing stands there vainly, vainly he strains his voice. Perhaps he'll die. Then can you say how beautiful is the world today? A little garden, fragrant and full of roses. The path is narrow, and a little boy walks along it. A little boy, a sweet boy, like that growing blossom. When the blossom comes to bloom, the little boy will be no more. Night follows day, and day again the night. Meanwhile, the rivers flow another way, not letting you die, not letting you live, and the cannons don't scream, and the guns don't bark, and you don't see blood here. Nothing, only silent hunger. Everything leans like tottering, hunched old women. Every eye shines with fixed waiting, and for the word, when. Here there are few soldiers. Only the shot-down birds tell of war. Another day has gone for keeps into the bottomless pit of time.
Night follows day, and day again the night, and we sink deeper in our pit of fright.
Try to open up your heart to beauty. Go to the woods someday and weave a wreath of memory there. Then if the tears obscure your way, you'll know how wonderful it is to be alive.
Actually, I didn't even realize there was a camp called Terezin. I didn't know anything about it.
Well, actually, I didn't know what Terezin was about till I came in here.
I came in here, to want the truth, to pass the time. I had no idea what was on.
Our neighbours were talking of coming, and then they decided to sit in the garden. And when we came out, they saw us coming. They said, got your back? I said, yes. And because it was going to rain, but they think the sun's going to shine now.
There are funny drawings, isn't there? I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, unless you understand what...
Well, whenever I see something like this, it makes me think lucky I wasn't there.
I think it's far too depressing to look at. And I think you need a break and then go back to it.
Oh, yes, it's good fun. It's just so enlightened.
I think we know so much about war that why people have to show an exhibition like this at all.
It just goes to show that these things can happen, doesn't it? There's always people, wherever you go, that are willing to let this sort of thing happen.
The feeling that they've accepted their situation, really. There's no hatred. There might be a bit of bitterness coming through, but I think they knew that in the end they were going to die. And they just painting. They just didn't know what to do. You feel bitter when you see something like this.
They'd probably be treated pretty badly. I mean, yes, it worries you, you know, to think if that happened again now. And, well, I don't think it could. People are more understanding now, aren't they? They're sensible sort of thing, you know. There's only some of the bad people there.
They held variety performances, poetry readings, and concerts.
We are tossed about by blind and cruel force. We are suspended between time and space. Our thoughts seem suddenly to stop their course, as if our lives were just a dreamy haze. What else is there to come? Isn't this the end? Who was it who condemned us to this spot? We never knew such things exist as these. We are afraid. We hardly dare to breathe. A dream and self-deception, is it not? Our reason stops. We cannot understand. It was originally intended that the ghetto should be a showplace for the kindly treatment of the Jews. They even made a propaganda film about it, with thousands of extras dressed up for the occasion.
And in 1944, the Red Cross was invited to inspect a small part of the town which had been specially window dressed for them. But they couldn't hide the real face of the ghetto.
Here the weak die easy as a feather, and when they die forever.
This evening I walked along the street of death. On one wagon they were taking the dead away. Why so many marches have been drummed here? Why so many soldiers? Then, a week after the end, everything will be empty here. A hungry dove will peck for bread. In the middle of the street will stand an empty, dirty hearse.
Everything leans like tottering, hunched old women. Every eye shines with fixed waiting, and for the word, when. You and I are friends. You and I are fond of each other. We met in Terezin. It was there that we shook hands. And you and I are friends. That we shall never forget. One day we shall pass through the open gate. The night will pass. The sun will shine again. You and I are friends. That we shall never forget.
The boat whistle has sounded now, and we must sail out toward an unknown port. We'll sail a long, long way, and dreams will turn to truth. Oh, how sweet the name of Morocco. The wind sings songs of far away. Just look up to heaven and think about the violets. Listen, now it's time.